mostly around understanding face again and some of the basics. Okay, that's what we are going to do today. Before that, before I go ahead, some of you have raised questions versions of Blender. Some of you might be working with 2.79, some are trying to use 2.83. Most of you must have been using 2.9 plus. So the current version is 93.1. So I won't install and download and install the Blender. Okay. So to go through, the responses here, see that we had asked you to select any topic so that I give more information about. So installation and installation won't be part of this session. To cover some again introduction to the various versions, navigation, some interface, how to select objects and transform objects, addition and deletion of the, that working with the workspaces, right click, and some shortcut keys. This is what we are going to cover today. So created a set of keyboard which will help you, to work environment. Okay, so I would request, there are a lot of files will be available on the internet, very nice and very useful keyboard. But since you are new to this kind of tool, to try to use no minimal tool unless get used to this interface. So I will, after the session, this PDF with you. I will ask the to share this with you, so don't worry about it. Meanwhile, you have to just observe how I'm using these keys. Okay. So one of the initial to understand the Blender interface. So whenever you to run the Blender, so here it's 2.9. I'm trying to run. So you can see that this screen appears. So this or this particular element splash screen. Here you can see the latest version of current version of your installed Blender, and here are the some general. Okay, so if you press escape or anywhere, you will be able to get rid of that particular screen. Okay, now you can see that there are different panels around the screen. So if you move your mouse, you will be able to see two-headed arrow appears. Hold, and if you just move your mouse, you will be able to size these panels. Okay, so whenever you move your mouse over here, and you will be seeing the two-headed arrow. Resize this particular panels. Down over here, I can do something like this. Okay, so basically whatever the default interface we are, this particular area is called 3D view. Okay, this is your main workspace. This is specifically what I can it is called as outliner. So all the objects that are present in this particular space, to see their names over here. Okay, this is properties window. So any property around this object, okay, will be this bottom part is a timeline. This is mainly used when you will be doing the animation. Okay, so simply click and drag and to just, it is taking some time. Okay, so sometimes these things happen. Don't get daunted or don't get bothered by this. Okay, so let me explain this again with the help of PowerPoint. So this particular area is called as a 3D viewport, as you can see for you to easily understand. Okay, so any in this area you must have explored it. Then this particular panel outliner where all the objects have been listed. Okay, then this is the properties panel, and this is panel. So definitely we will not be working on timeline at the moment. If I mean in the session of animation, we will try to look up to this. Those who have done good. Okay. So overall, remember. So important aspect is how to use keyboard shortcuts. You will feel challenging to use a lot of, but like I mentioned, we list for you and I will be sharing it with you. Okay, let me first. Okay, I'm enabling some extra feature keys I'll be using. Blender will display it for me. You will be able to see this key that I'll be pressing those actions. You will not be able to do it because it is not enabled your machine at the moment. Later on, I'll share some to enable that. Okay, so now let us try to panel. I'll just add just for my usage, okay, so that I can easily see these things. So this is a default cube. So if you scroll your mouse, zoom in and zoom out, if you click on the middle and if you hold and move your mouse, you will be able to navigate like, okay. So this you already must have done. I'm just trying to redoing it for you. Okay. To object, you just left click on that. See this orange kind of outline so that you will be able to understand this object. At the same time, if you look at this panel, this cube is got selected. So this has got highlighted. So what more objects like camera, where I can see the camera. Okay, you can see that if I select on a camera, this camera will get, okay. If you click on cube, the cube will get selected. Light, the light, this is light source that will be get selected. Now just try to okay. So what we have seen is left click, middle mouse. Okay, so this fifth number is really important. If you see shift, middle mouse and mouse move, let us see how it works. If I press shift and hold it and then press on hold the middle mouse, and if I will be able to pan this particular window. Okay, so it's gonna be difficult for everyone, but over the period of time you will be able to do it very efficiently. And this is helpful because orient your object wherever you want in the 3D viewport. Okay. The next one is this keys on your numpad. So if you see, you have number pad. If you have keyboard with number pad on the right side, num keys. Otherwise, you can set your normal number keys to this first. Okay. So each key is assigned views. So if you press 1, 3, 7, 9, you'll be able to see from the bottom of these views. So here on the left up, you can see that user. Okay. So if I press 1, this is front view. Okay. Here you can see that. I press 3, this is right. Then if I press 7, this is top view, right? If I press 9, this is. Now what about the normal? So if I press 0, it will take me to the camera view. This camera view, you are actually looking at the object from. So to get out of this view, middle mouse button, that is scroll button, you'll be able to get out of this view. So here, placed your camera. Trying to look from this camera, and if you want to set this view the way we mobile phone cameras and other things, so simply press 0 to see. So whatever is fitted in this captured. So right now, though there is a lot of around this cube, only this part will be visible in your file. Okay. So this is you might get you might have, but I would suggest just keep it for the time being. Address those later on. Now, if I want, I can select it from here. Okay, what is next? Okay, so there are other keys 5, 2, 8, 4, 6, plus minus. I'll just go one by one. So in whatever view, if you press 5, you will be able to see the orientation. Here also you can see user ortho or user perspective. Look at this grid line, what happens? So these are the parallel lines when you orthographic, and when you press 5 again, you will be perspective that these lines are getting merged at some level. And when you press the 5, now view, this is a current view. If I press 2, if I keep on pressing, I will be able to on the object. Okay. Okay, just again I'll do that. If I press 2, around the object from the current view. If I press, so the second number is showing many times I have pressed the 8 in the reverse direction. Similar 4, I'll be able to rotate the left, 6 on the right direction. So these keys are really useful if you're trying to model or whenever you're trying to observe these objects from angles. Okay. So I'm not rotating the particular, I'm trying to rotate the view. Okay. So these are really important. Now suppose you have zoomed out a lot and you see your cube and you have not selected it. Select this cube, and on the keyboard there is a dot that is okay. So if you press that, you'll be able to focus on the selected object. Okay, then you can, using your scroll, you can zoom in and zoom out and set up it. Again, for zoom in and zoom out, you can use minus keys on your numpad or keyboard. Okay, if you press zoom away, that is zoom in, and you press plus. Okay, so these are the keys that we have covered. So reverse views, about the reverse views, we have to use this combination of control plus these num keys. So if I press control, sorry, one, okay, I pressed the wrong button. Control one, numpad one, you can see the control 3, control 7, right? Likewise. So since this is a cube, you're not do this uh, perfectly. I can use different objects to visualize that. Okay, so let me try with some different object. Okay, now we have a lot of other keys. So I will just first try to selecting and deleting these objects and adding this object. Okay. Now that you are in this particular view, suppose if you want to select all these objects like Q and light source, what you can do is you can press shift and click on the other objects the way we do it on our desktop when we select photos or multiple files. Okay, if I want to select shift and click. Okay, so select this. If I click on out, it will get deselected, or if I press, it will select everything, and if I press A again, it will deselect it. Technically it has to deselect. I'll just check the option in the new version and I will update you with that. Okay, outside so that your objects will get deselected. Okay, it's, I think, alt A. It's alt A. If you press A, everything will get selected. If you press alt, everything will get deselected. You can view over here. I want to delete this cube. I don't want this cube. Cube from here or from here. Okay. X, this pop-up will appear and delete. You will be able to delete this cube. Okay. Now remember what you see at this center. This particular is a 3. Okay. So you have to be very careful. Series. So now it is by default, at the center, but sometimes we move it somewhere. Okay. Whichever object that you will be adding will get added to. Now to add object, we have shift and A. Okay. Otherwise, if you don't want to use shift A, left corner, you will see add button and you add various objects. You can play around with the main object that we will object types will be working with. This is, I'll tell you what mesh is in upcoming slides. Okay, so you can see that's a plane, there is a circle, there is a UV sphere, there is a icon cylinder, there is a cone, there is a torus, there is a grid, there is a add cone. Okay, I have added cone from there. Okay, add something again. If I add sphere, it will get added at the same place. Definitely I would like to move this object from place. First I will delete this particular. Okay, I'll select this cone. Okay. So important point is, if you see this, the one is green line and one is red line. These are nothing but Blender apps. Here on this workspace, you can see the axes have been shown. Okay, red axis, red is x-axis, green. The blue line is not visible, and you can enable it at the different functions available. But first, try to work with the different. So I've selected this object. If I press G, and if I just, I can simply able to move this object in this 3D space, okay? But in with respect to this particular point of view that I'm watching. So if you want to put it over here, you can simply again click where you have put in your object, okay? If you simply want to, move with any of the direction, X or Y direction, Control Z, so it will come back to the origin. So if I press G and if I press Y, that you will be able to move this object direction. And if you're able to observe it, this particular, you will be able to see the distance. I'll click so that I can move this distance. Then I'll put G plus X, and you can see that I'll be able to move X-axis. Okay, somewhere here. To move it very precisely. If I have the upward direction, I'll press G and Z. This blue line appeared, and I can move it in the up along with the Z axis. Okay, so it's really it's really simple. It will take few minutes of yours. You'll be able to practice it a lot, and you will be needing it when you'll be trying to do techniques. Okay, so I'll delete this. Let me try to add different objects. I will add plane first, G and X. I will move it somewhere here. Then again, I cube. I'll G and Y here. Then I'll again add mesh. So I'll do G and X again somewhere here. Shift A, add UV sphere, GY somewhere here. Shift A, icosphere, Y somewhere here. Shift cylinder, okay, GY somewhere here. Shift A, let me see, cone, GY, and then Shift A. Finally, I will try to add this monkey over here. Okay, so you can see, you can try to view, and you can visualize from different angle. Okay, this middle mouse, holding middle mouse and just moving around it. Using a MacBook or any laptop where you have trackpad, you can see your two fingers to move around it. So these are simple things, but needs a lot of practice initially, and it will be really helpful for you for the modeling techniques. Okay. So what you can try to do is you can try to play around with this object. You can delete these objects. Okay. So what we saw is we saw how to add objects, how to move these objects. So if you want to put this cylinder somewhere, you can simply press G, grab it, and try to put it here. But axis, you can see it has gone to a random location. Okay, so make Control Z, placement of object has to be very careful. So what I always try to work in a top view. View. So from top view, I can simply see that where my objects are in X and Y. So if I simply press objects, I will be able to place it wherever I want. G, G, move. Select G, move. Okay. So can you see that I have put the almost in one line. So here you can see that all are appearing. Correct? You can observe this camera, circle, cone, cube, cylinder, all objects. The monkey's name is Suzanne. If you double, you can change the name. I won't put it as a monkey, I'll keep it as a Susie. You can rename this cube is my cube. Correct? So anything you want to rename. That's what the thing is. Okay, so open a new file. Simply, if you can save your work over here. Save as. Say you can put name of the file. My okay trial one. Okay, I can save. I'm not going to save it right now, but I'm just showing it to you. You can also open, existing files that you must have. Now I will work with a new file. You can see that this there, but we will open a general file. I will not save it. You can see the default cube. Greens. Now we worked with a movement translation of the object. The next part is scaling. So like we have used G for, I use S and I move my mouse, I can scale in or scale. Okay. If I try to use it with like S plus X, you can see that I can scale my the X axis. So the important, whenever you want to scale up, keep your mouse close to the object. To scale down, keep your mouse away from the object. So just take SX so that I can, now it is a scale. And if I have to scale it down, X will be easier for me. Otherwise, what if I keep here and I try to scale up, me much, scope. That was a scaling. Scale along Y, scale along Y, and you will how I can scale it. Okay. If I have to scale along Z, S plus Z and move. Got it? Then scale Y. Okay, so this is how you can play around with the scaling of the objects. You can objects and practice over it. Similarly, I'll just delete this. I will add a cube. I want to, scale it with a very precise to double, scaling to triple. So you just type and number 3. Okay. you will have it scaled 3 times. If you want to make it half, scale 5. S point S point 5. This is how you can play with this scaling options. Scale same applies S, Y, okay, S, Z, 8. This will be fun whenever you will be trying it out. I'll delete this. Okay. Cube, new cube. So we looked upon scaling also. Now another part. So if I press R, I will be able to rotate this object current view. Similarly, if I press I, I will be able to rotate along y axis. Same SX, sorry, RX along RZ along Z axis. Okay, so this is same. One key, you will be able to understand the other keys. That this is what G, S for scale, R for rotation. Now, if you want to rotate this particular with specific angle, like 60° along, simply press R, X, 60. Okay, so this will get rotated with the specific. Control Z. Okay. Let me see if the control spacebar works. It doesn't work for me over here. It doesn't work for my Mac. Now, there is another function that Blender has provided us. If you press N, you will be able to transform properties panel. Okay. Here you can see that. I'm just trying to zoom in. You can see that location, rotation, and these are the original dimension of the object. Without moving objects from here, or if I'm just trying to move it from here, you can see that these numbers are getting changed. The location is getting changed. If you just want to change it from here, if I put 4, able to change the location. I will be able to change the location. You will be able to change the location. Okay, so this easily you can try to work upon this. And if you are to set it to origin, put everything as a 0. Here, if you just drag this angle, you will be able to see the rotation. Okay, you can do the multiple rotation with that. Correct. You can again 0, 0. Scaling thing. Okay. This was 1. These are the dimensions. By default, it's a 2 meter. Dimensions you can always change. You play with this later on. Okay, that's a transform property. Now let me see what we have. Now this was about everything in the object mode. So we have not any properties of the object. Okay. So here, if you see, we are in an object mode. Click over here, you will be able to see different modes. You must have already tried it. Edit mode, sculpt mode, vertex paint, weight paint. We're gonna work with any of other things. We will be just try to look into the when I go to edit mode, you'll be able to see this vertices of the objects, correct? So you can left click and select any of the vertices, okay? And you can move around and select any also initially, right? If you want to select the, you can see that it's a vertex select mode, it's a edge select mode, it's a face select. So if I click on face select mode, I'll be able to faces. Okay, so these are called as a faces. These polygons faces. Currently this is cube, so it is square form. If I want to select edges, I can select edge. Left click. So again, for selecting everything, press A to deselect. Now, if I any vertices and press G and I move the mouse, you deformation that is happening. Okay, so this is also you can. This is how you can alter this geometry. So first, I play around with these features to understand they're actually editable. If I use base, this is in a random direction. Okay, but if you just specifically do that again by pressing, if I have selected GX, okay, I can move it around. GY, I can do it along. Okay, so now because these are there are different ways you can deform these objects. You can think of different modeling things. Let me just check. So in a similar way, if you want to delete this particular edge, X, now you have to select the edge or only. Okay, let me see. So you are able to delete that edge, and the related faces will also get deleted because you are deleting. So if I select this, if I delete, okay, there. In a similar, delete vertices, select X, vertex, see that these geometries are still visible. Okay. So I would want this on your own. Fine. So this is the initial part. Let me see what I have. Saw edit mode. Now I would like you to take you standard concepts. Give me a moment. So this is what we saw, the edit mode. You know how you get into edit mode. So to switch between these modes, you can use key on your keyboard and you can see the difference that is happening. This is object mode. Now I'll go edit mode. So always remember, to edit anything, you have to be in a edit mode. Okay, there are some other questions that are happening. Okay. Yeah. So there are these some concept and terms I would like. So one of the basic term is modeling. Okay. It is a process of making 3D mesh. I'll get mesh, what mesh is. So you can see there is a initial drawing, then the entire thing is getting developed to the final model. So the whole is making a 3D mesh, that is modeling. Model. So this particular model, it refers to a object in general. Okay. Normally 3D form which has textures, material, to make the object look the way it is. Okay, it's called as a 3D model. Okay. Then you have mesh. So mesh is nothing but the actual 3D that defines the shape of this polyhedral object. Okay, you can learn more about it. Important point is mesh could be the 3D cube or any in the initial form. Now the things a mesh are nothing but what we have seen is vertex, vertex. Then you can make edge vertices, and then you have these faces. Okay, faces are nothing but polygons. Okay, make mesh is these particular parts like edge, vertices, and faces. Okay, so all polygons can be made from triangles. Just understand the polygons. Okay, triangles are like you can see over here. Chords like this are also other n-gons and f-gons like multiple things you can polygons. So anything has various polygons like you have seen to another objects. So here you can see that this particular character is having 5 7 polygons. So this is called as a polygon count. So more number of polygons you have, it's the more heavier. It will take more time to render and process depending on. Okay. So basically, the number of polygons that make these objects or scene. Okay. No, the graphics hardware breaks everything into triangles. Though you have it as a chord or other polygons break into triangle. So normally it is been called as. Okay, this is just for your information. You will understand it once you work more onto it. However, Blender uses the term chord is also secretly made of two triangles. So Blender has the triangles all the time, but chords. Okay, so these are the initial or the fundamental terms about the 3D mesh. Terms that I would like to show you is this is normal mesh. This is normal. You can see the sharp edges very clearly, but thing called as a smoothing the mesh. To smooth the mesh, there are different algorithms that you have. You can simply take the smooth option. I'll just try to a demonstration of it over here. I will add key. You can see this is the object. If I right click on shade smooth, you can see the difference. Okay, correct. Default is smooth. Okay? It will look. So basically, it will smooth the lights between the vertices, and it is not changing the geometry. That is really to be noted over here. Next, subdivide these surfaces. If you want to make it more smoother, we have to surface. Okay, this each surface needs to be divided. So okay, so this will definitely smooth this 3D form by adding more. Okay, and we don't need to do it. I'll just show you over here. First, I'll show you, then I'll tell you what it is. Okay. Though you can see more surfaces, but it is the original one. Okay. So if I add shade smooth, it will give me more smooth object. Got it? So if we add both, be able to see this output. Now always remember, this is not a solid mesh. Okay, it is hollow. If you cut it over here, the meshes are always hollow. Fine. Yeah. So that's what the initial terminology that I wanted to talk about, and these are the subjects that we have already seen it. So you can always play exercises that I have shown. Just a Professor Thamba. So how much time do we have? Okay, up to 6:10 we can take, right? Okay, fine, fine, fine. Okay, can I explain this again? Yeah. See, by default, we have this object looks like this. It will just try to smoothen the lights. But if you want to make it more smooth, you have to divide this. If it is one surface, you have to divide, you have to subdivide. So basically what I've done is there are different options available in this panel. So here, if you see this spanner, this part we will cover later on. The spanner, this is modifier. I will check upon add modifier and I will select where is subdivide. Okay, somewhere here, subdivision surface. So you can see that more surface. And here you can change the level. Okay, more number you add, more levels you add, it will get. Then if you right click and simply add these shades, then you can always have a shade flat. Just see what is happening over here. Okay, this was initial thing. More surfaces. This is what will happen to this with different objects and see what happens. Okay. Now, since we have like 5-10 minutes, what I will quickly take you through some other, you know, some functions like box modeling, subdivide we have done. So extrude, and these are some outputs. I will rather show demonstration. Okay, I'll open a new file. Don't save. This is for my purpose, and okay, I'll delete this cube. I will add plane. We'll go to edit mode by pressing tab. I'll ensure selected. I will press E. You will see the line appears. Able to extrude this surface. Okay, so I can create out of this. If I select this face, press E, I can extrude this direction. This face, if I press E, I can extrude this like this. Okay. Interesting that we can always work on extrude this, extrude this. Okay. Click. So this is what your extrude function will allow you. Staircases or any random objects using this extrude function. So if you try to extrude the entire object, so you can keep on exploring that, but this is not a good practice. Go to object mode. I'll delete this. Try to press Shift A, and I will add circle. And if you remember last week, I have tried to show something object by creating using this select A. Okay, sorry. Select mode E Z. I can extrude S scale E Z something like this. Okay, G Z. We'll go to object mode. Add subdivide surface. You can see what is happening with the object. If you go to edit mode, you will be able to see original vertices. Okay, so this is just a fast thing. It's not difficult. You can try it on your own. Not a difficult material that we are providing. Okay, but you need to first practice shortcuts. You just get familiar with your mouse, keyboard, some the interface, how to move like this, how to view like this. You 8 6 keys using camera. Okay, that's what I wanted to show. So like different objects you can always create. Okay, so let me else. I will add now in edit mode. If you see, there are this. Okay, if I right click, okay, if I right click, I can option. So if you simply click on subdivide option, it will divide this particular geometry into subdivision. So now you can see more. If I again right click and it will add more parts to it. Okay, if I add more, right click subdivide, divisions. So this is a subdivision, and any of this part, and you can play around with it. See what you can play extrude Z, or you can select shift and select multiple planes, and then press E, and you can see what is happening over here. Okay, play around with the extrude and subdivision function. But for extrude in edit mode, when your object or the press E and try to go with the combination of head and use a mouse button. Okay, this important. I think we can stop over here now, and you can explore these parts. The other part I can once you're comfortable with these particular options. Share this keyboard shortcut sheet today so that you will be able to access it for the practicing. Any okay, so what I was trying to tell you about your queries that you form, we have all. I will try to provide some useful links for each of your queries, resolve it, and still if persist, we can address it in a different what we will be doing. Okay, so any quick question? Understand there will be a lot of questions. Professor Thamba, so
Okay, sir.
please go ahead.
Sir, can you explain how to creating the vase?
Okay, I can quickly show that. But see, that was, for showed you. Okay, but if you need to practice all this for at least a day or two continuously, the simplest for us is Shift A circle. You will be able to see the circle. This is an empty circle at the moment. Okay, go to Edit. Have what? See that your vertices are selected, orange thing, and simply by zooming out, having right like this, so that you can see the extrusion. If you press, this is how it will happen. But if you press E and Z, the appropriate direction. So wherever you put it, just keep it over there. Now don't anything else, just simply scale it out, S, and just move outward or inward. Then again E, Z, and if you want to scale little bit, scale E, Z, whatever height you want to have it, E, Z, scale little bit inward, Z, scale it outward. Okay, so this can work with it. Later on, just go again back to mode. In this properties panel, you see the spanner, add modifier and surface. You will be able to add different sub. This is how you can create something like this. Now, with it, you can always edit it. Okay, so one thing I forgot to tell, you can always have a wireframe view of this. Here is a solid view. When you press Z, you will be able to see what view. So this is by default, it's a solid. You click on wireframe, the wireframe of this object, of the any object. Okay, that's what I just forgot to mention. So I'll try to share a tutorial on how to create this object. Let me see if I have that with it. I will share the PDF. Okay. How to delete subdivision area. So, okay. See, basically, if you go to edit mode, faces, if you select any face, if you press delete that particular part. This is how it will look like. But I would suggest you have edited the objects. Okay, do it in the initial modeling. So face same, delete to select it and delete it. Okay, that it's been deleted. Okay. Uh, Try using command spacebar. I tried that, looking for my settings because I installed it right now. Yeah. For me, number shortcut is not working. What to do, sir? Thank you for. So Numpad, if you do not have Numpad, go to file. Let me just check preferences, and in you can emulate Numpad. So if you do that, emulate Numpad to 3D viewport. So even if you press your normal number keys on your keyboard, you will be able to see this. You can see how it is looking front, side, okay, camera. That's why we have all this. For me, number shortcut is not working. That's done. There is no Blender app for Android. What is the difference between delete and dis? Okay, we can check upon. So you're simply deleting this particular shape out of this object. Dissolve is not something similar to what is. Okay, this is how we. Okay, thank you so much, everyone. So if uh, anyways, we will do the other part later on. First, you have to practice it. I will cover the other parts. Fine. Okay, Professor, stop over here. Not an issue. So anything to cover? Okay, okay, okay. So students, those who are not present, those who are present, I can just quickly tell. Will be using some platform for submitting your assignment. Do it later on. Won't be an issue because most of the students. Okay. Yes, 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 yes. That's I think will be good thing. Okay. So much.
Thank you, sir. It was really a wonderful session, and you have also clarified many. So I hope the participants got benefited, and thank you for active participation. This really made this day